What's up, guys? I'm Jay, and I was hesitant to remove the air restrictor on my strong arm. However, I did make the mistake of taking out the plastic parts that stop it from dropping completely, and now when it drops, this side drops a little bit farther down, so I'm going to try and use some epoxy putty, I think, and hope that that takes the place of those little plastic nubs that were stopping it. I mean, it's not terrible, but it doesn't spin correctly now. I mean, when it's dropped, and it's putting, you know, undue stress on the bottom of the shell. So I'm going to go ahead and take this apart again and show you how to remove the air restrictor. I'm still kind of hesitant, but part of me is wondering if it's like the friction from the plunger tube that's pushing the friction from the plunger is pushing the plunger tube forward, or if the air restrictor has a great deal of importance. I'm hoping that it's not the case. I've done some research on it. I've seen a few videos and it seems to work just fine, although it does seem very loud afterwards, so I might have to pad it or something. Anyways, I'm going to take this apart and see if I can't get into the air restrictor area, so I'm going to show you that. Okay, so here's what I've done. I've used a flathead screwdriver to punch out the 4 posts that were holding the air restrictor in, and that's pretty much what's left of the air restrictor, including a spring somewhere. This spring right here. So I don't know. I have my reservations about this, and I'm going to be upset if it doesn't work very well. It still catches on what's left of the posts, so I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do as far as padding goes. I don't know, because it tapers in a little bit here, and these two are actually 2 separate parts, and I was trying to pop this open and leave the supports inside intact, but I couldn't get this part open. I saw a guy doing it with a drill, and I didn't want to drill a hole all the way through this, and when he was drilling, this part popped off, but I didn't want to do that. I did not feel comfortable doing that. Yeah, it worries me that, you know, that was happening. So I'm probably going to end up filling up this little bit of dead space right here with some hot glue. I might, I'm probably not going to put any foam in it right now because I don't want to offset the plunger rod at all, so that it does, you know, messes up the catch of anything. So so that's pretty much all you really have to do. Is I just used a flathead screwdriver and just, you know, set this down on the table and just punch through 1 post at a time. And I'm going to have to re-hot glue the air release hole because I took that off when I was trying to pry these 2 pieces apart. I don't recommend prying. Prying is a bad word. If you see anyone in a video pulling their blaster apart, like I saw this kid who was doing a video of a deploy, and he was like wrenching it apart to get at a screw, and it wasn't necessary at all. He just didn't know what he was doing. So stay away from prying. Prying is bad. That's how you break your blasters. And so as you can see, I've also dremeled down the nubs that were here, and I'm gonna end up replacing those with little bits of epoxy putty. So that I'm gonna do next. I think give that some time to set, maybe. Or maybe I'll just put it back together and test it to see how the air restrictor works. I might just do that, save some time, and then take it apart again and epoxy that and show you that afterwards. But it worries me a little bit, but I'm thinking that I don't know. I'm not entirely certain. I hope that it will still do its job. I hope that it will function correctly. Otherwise, what I was thinking was just when I set it back in, if it doesn't work correctly, I might just end up having to maybe epoxy putty it all the way forward so that it's always creating a seal. But there are still options, so we'll see how it goes. Like I said, I have my doubts, but that remains to be seen once I put it back together. So I'm going to go ahead and put it back together and test it out just to see if everything works out okay. And the video I was watching, on a side note, the video I was watching, the guy, when he was putting the strong arm back together, he was having a ton of trouble with the trigger catch here. So remember, guys, this hole right here is there for a reason. So when you put the trigger catch on, put the catch on first and then thread the spring right through that hole, and that'll save you a ton of trouble and a ton of irritation. So yeah, that makes things a lot easier. It was really funny because it kept kind of flying out of this guy's hands, and I felt bad for him, but it was kind of funny at the same time. So whoever you were, I feel bad for you, but that hole is there for a reason. So yeah, I'll get right back to you guys once I put everything back together. Okay guys, so I filled up the center with hot glue and I put a little bit of foam backing rod in, so that might dampen the impact a little bit. It's not sitting well with me. I'm not sure how well it'll work, and I'm not that optimistic at the moment. But I've seen people do it and it seems to work, so we shall see. Well, much to my surprise, it works, and it works well, and the bit of foam backing rod seems to be doing a pretty good job of keeping it pretty silent. So if you can see clearly, there's no tooth sticking out. The air restrictor is completely removed. This is what's left of it, so as not to make you think that I'm faking it for some reason. I don't know. I had my doubts about that other guy. But I'm gonna fire it off for you guys, and it fires just fine. I don't know. Let's see. It definitely hurts at close range. So yeah. It seems to be working okay. Yeah, I don't think that there should be any problem with it. For some reason, it doesn't seem quite as powerful to me. It could just be me being skeptical, but let's see. I don't know, it seems, I don't have like a stock one to compare it to, so I can't really. So if you want to remove the air restrictor, it's completely up to you to do that or not. I don't see any real dramatic change in the power of it, but these new kind of air restrictors are actually more for like, they're not as detrimental to the distance as the air restrictors in the older Nerf and Strike blasters. So I don't know. I mean, it's really up to you if you want to remove the air restrictor or not. I'm not seeing anything really very different from it. It seems it's still very powerful. But other than that, I mean, let's see. Yeah, it still creates a seal just fine. But yeah, I mean, I'm now the only thing that I'm seeing that I'm foreseeing is that the plunger head will have some wear and tear on it. But other than that, that is how you remove the air restrictor on the Strongarm. This has been a this is my second video on the Strongarm already. I did a very long video. It was about like 23 minutes or so on the Strongarm because I love this blaster. This is such a great gun, which is why I was very hesitant to take out the air restrictor because it just functions so well even with the air restrictor in. But some people hate air restrictors, and I'm one of those people for the most part. But for this, it seems like, you know, you don't really need to. But I did to show you guys how to do it, and maybe once I see one of these in stores, I'll pick up another one and compare the two, do a comparison video at some point. But I haven't seen any in stores in my area yet. I went to a Toys R Us recently, and I asked if anybody had it in stock, and the lady who was helping me was like, the closest one is in Ohio. And I'm like, I'm not going out to Ohio to buy a Nerf gun. So I'll wait a while and see if they show up here. But yeah, so I'm satisfied. I still am a bit worried about it, but we'll see how it stands up over time. So I'm Jay. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe so I can keep making videos. I will probably be starting commissions during the summer months, probably middle of May till late August. I can start doing commissions because I'll be home for summer break. I can't really do commissions or paint jobs or anything when I'm in school because I can't be spraying spray paint all over the place. But I'm going to paint a few more things with the paint that I have left over, and fun stuff. I'll do videos on those. So thank you for watching, and remember, modding can damage the internals of the gun and shorten the lifespan of the blaster. So do so at your own risk. Thank you. I'm Jay.